So you just installed Age of Empires 3 Definitive Edition, and you're thinking, who do I want to play? Well, either because you didn't have a particular nation you wanted to play, or more accurately, you thought it was the base game, you decide to play the English. And you know what? They're a pretty solid choice. I mean, you might reasonably consider that they are the basic faction, the one that doesn't have any special gimmicks to it. Well, you'd be wrong, as they do actually have some unique mechanics you gotta watch out for. But they are relatively easy to understand. Also, they have the historical value of being what you could consider the winners of this story. I mean, realistically, the only time they lost a whole lot of territory in a military conflict at this time in the rough time period was with the Americans, and there's some other small incidents. But overall, that's beyond the point. You want to play England, right? Okay, good. Now, how do you play England? Well, I'm not going to explain to you the basic mechanics of the game. It's standard RTS fare. But what do you need to uniquely play English? One, you have longbows. Instead of those crossbows, you have Chad longbows. What does the longbow do? Well, for being slightly more expensive, which is really not a downside, they have crazy range, like longer than pretty much almost all units in the game. Pretty long. So, you can snipe enemies from distance before they can even shoot you. Ironically enough, despite the fact of being an archaic unit, giving them a place in a modern military army. But that's neither here nor there. Now, after, of course, the longbow, you have the rocket, which is pretty effective at destroying a lot of things, honestly. I mean, buildings, infantry, cavalry. It really doesn't matter. If the rocket hits it, it's going to suffer. But, of course, they do have one relatively unique mechanic. When they build houses, which are more expensive in their case, they also get the advantage of producing one person. So that means when you build a house, you produce a person. Because that's logically how the British did everything. Every time they built a house, they built a person along with it. Now, after that, they are pretty much a relatively basic to easy to understand. Their cards are powerful but relatively basic. They give you stuff you would imagine. Improve this, improve that. They do have a lot of defensive cards, giving you a surprisingly defendable playstyle if that's what you want to go for. And to top it all off, the Navitaria's navy is perfecto. It is easily a very powerful navy that can easily wrestle the sea at any game, because this is the British, and the British are clearly like the sons of Poseidon or something, given their pretty good track record when it comes to massive navies. Must be, once again, the sons of Poseidon or something. But they do have a weakness. Yes, the English are not completely overpowered. They do lack in the cavalry department a bit, which should not shock you, as the English have never particularly had a long history of good cavalry. In fact, it's part of the reason why the French tend to fight them so much. I mean, they are good at cavalry. But yeah, but of course, because all of that is supplemental material, you must play the English well, of course. After all, you want to restore Pax Britannia. You want to restore the British Empire, because if it could be done once, it could be done again. And your enemies are merely a footnote in your path. Shoot them down with your muskets and redcoats. Bomb them with long-range artillery, and the longbows will pick off who's left. This is the English way, and this is how you will play Age of Empires 3 with England. Yeah. Hey, why don't you hit that sub button? You're gonna become a subscriber. Get to see my content quicker. Wouldn't that be nice? I bet so.